This is Make Something Happen 6, in which we install Visual Studio Code and we also download the repository which contains all the example programs for this entire book. And we start from code.visualstudio.com/download with a capital D. Then we get this page here and we get asked, okay, what do you want to download? And I go, well, I'm in Windows. I'll take this chap, please. So I just hit there and now, yeah, okay. Stuff starts to happen. Things light up. Down comes Visual Studio. This is history here because we did Git just a minute ago and now we're doing code. So that will come down. I'm using again my little blue laptop, which is lovely and was extremely cheap. So whatever you get, whatever you're using for this, there's a very good chance it'll be faster than mine. But that's okay. I don't mind. Hit open file. And we'll open the installer and it will start to work its magic. Here we go. So yes, you might as well accept. Resistance is futile and all that. Besides, it won't work if you don't. Then we hit next and there we go. And here we go. And we're going to call it, this is all good stuff. So we'll keep on clicking. If you want a desktop icon, then ask for one. The other ones you should leave set to the defaults. Hit next. Now we hit install. And off it goes. Fun fact, Visual Studio Code is actually written in JavaScript. It's a nice example of a program which is lean and mean, fairly small and fairly quick, and extremely extensible and powered by JavaScript and configured by JSON. So you're actually, they call it dog fooding in the business. You're eating your own product. You're actually using a language, a tool built in a language to learn that language, which I think is quite nice. So here we go. It's all chugging through again. It thinks it's finished. So we hit finish. And the world ends. No, it doesn't. That would be silly and a bit scary. So we'll hit finish. And there we go. We've now got Visual Studio and it's starting to run, which is terrific. Now, as it arrives, it's just, here we go. We're going to pick the color scheme you like. I'm a big fan of light. This one here, which probably marks me out as very old, if nothing else. So we've got that. Nothing else in the getting started really matters to us just right now. We can go back and look at this later. One point I will make though is that Visual Studio Code is very, very active. It's updated at regular intervals. This happens automatically. One day you'll start it and it will say, I have upgraded. Isn't that nice? And what happens then is that you might find the display a little bit different. Some features have been added. So it might be that when you look at what you've got, you don't actually get the same as what I've got, which is fine. I believe it's called progress and there's nothing that I've found we can do about it. So we have to live with that. So now that we have to do this, this thing, we've got the tool on our system. We now have to get the actual program code we're going to work on. So I'm going to go into this guy here, which is called source control, and click on him. And I've got two options. I can open a folder and start writing programs. That's good. I can also clone a repository, which is what I want to do because all the stuff for this course is in GitHub. We can pull it down. One point I will make very strongly at this juncture, you don't have to join GitHub to do this. Anyone can do this from anywhere. But if you do join GitHub, you can post your own repositories and clone things and save stuff and work with them straight from Visual Studio Code. They work extremely well together. So I'm going to hit clone repository. And the first thing I'll say is, okay, where do you want this from? Now there's two places I can get it from. One is just a URL, a web address. And the other is to go on to GitHub, log in and start finding repositories that I've created. Now I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go Control V and this is the address that you want to be entering. It's on github.com. So there you go. And the organization I've created for this book is called Building Apps and Games in the Cloud. And it has a repository in that organization called buildingappsinthe.cloud.github.io. And the IO is interesting because that means this is also a website. So when you go on to the website for this course, you find it's all hosted from these files as well. So I hit enter and it says, okay, where do you want to put it? Well, this is an interesting one. Well, I find it interesting. Your mileage may vary, because where you're going to put it now will actually be stored on your machine. Now, you could put it in a folder that's in OneDrive, but I would advise against doing that. I put it somewhere on your local machine, and so the desktop would work, or a folder inside your documents would work. I think I'll put mine on the desktop because then I can find it easily. I'm going to go on there, and I'm going to go that, and then we'll see it appear, which will be quite interesting. Oh, this is actually a bad plan. We'll let it do it, and I'll explain why it's a bad plan. It's a bad plan because if you're using OneDrive, it will synchronize all your folders together. So you really shouldn't put stuff on your desktop because it'll get synchronized. I'm using GitHub to manage this text, nothing else. So it doesn't really need to be synchronized by other things. So just put it somewhere that works for you. I'm going to say, okay, do you want to open this? And I'm going to go, yeah, open it. And in it comes. And at this point, yeah, there'll be more rattling. Do you trust? Oh, yes. I think I trust me. Yes, I trust the authors. That's just to stop people from doing that. And this is it. This is the whole thing. This is where all our stuff is. And the most interesting folder here is the one marked code, because that's where all the code is. So I do that. And down here, there's an entry for every single chapter. And we're on chapter 2 at the moment, getting to the cloud. And these are all the files. At the time I make this video, this is a work in progress, so these folders may change slightly as we develop the content to produce the final content of the book. But for now, all the ones in chapter 2 are frozen, and we can go into here, and we should take a look in simple HTML because that's where we came in. Go in here and I click index, and bang. This is actually the file that contains the web page which you have been looking at in the rest of this text. So we've now got our code installed. We've done quite a lot in a fairly small, in about 10 minutes time of effort. We now have a working Visual Studio Code, and we now have a copy of all the exercises, and we can now work on those and play with them. And if we change something, if we delete something, if we break something, it doesn't matter. We just clone it again, get a clean copy off the web, and then off we go again. And that's it for this one. So thank you very much, and on to the next.